welcome to Life Coaching on the Move. I am your host, Dawn Fiske, life coach, trainer and speaker. Welcome along. If you're new to this podcast, I'm delighted you found it. It is a podcast where I speak from the heart. I don't edit. I don't write a script. I don't know what I'm going to say till I say it most of the time. Often I'm outside on a dog walk and you come along with me. Today I'm sat in my car recording with the windows open because we're in lockdown at the moment, but it doesn't mean to say this subject is solely about lockdown. It isn't. So if you're listening to this in months and months' time, all of the strategies I covered today are as appropriate in or out of the virus issue that we've got. So do listen. I'm currently sat in my car with the windows open so the dog doesn't overheat. So you can hear the odd car, not many, because it's very quiet, nobody's moving around, but more so you'll hear the bird song. I'm not recording this at home because I've got a house full. Everyone's at home, and mid-record I would get someone shout, "Mum!" So I thought I will just stay out here where it's peaceful and quiet and I can hear myself think, and we won't get interrupted by needy teenagers. So today's podcast is all about the benefits of keeping a record of your progress, whether it's good progress or not so good progress, and seeing patterns and how we can benefit as a result. So it's seeing trends and patterns and what's the difference that makes the difference both on a good day or a good half a day or not such good half a day. So I talk all about that. It's motivational, it's a pep talk that you can listen to wherever and whenever you are. So if you've started exercising now, more so because of the lockdown, then it may be listen to this while you're out doing that. So I come along with you. If you do enjoy today's podcast, there are plenty more in the back catalogue, all of which will help you. All of them will help you through this lockdown or beyond the lockdown. They're all everyday tips and techniques, inspirational, always upbeat, to help you build your confidence, to de-stress, to minimise negative in your life. So they will be useful and will be helpful. So listen to the back catalogue, particularly if you're going to listen to just a few, the first 3 or 4, because they're the kind of platform, they give the platform of all of my coaching. If you feel that one-to-one coaching with me would be helpful, then absolutely contact me, Dawn, at milestone-coaching.co.uk, because I'm working with virtual coaching sessions via Skype, FaceTime, house party, Zoom, all sorts. So if you want just one session to get you back, if you're struggling with anxiety, stress, all sorts, or time management, or working from home, or even business and career at the moment, then I can do coaching one-to-one. You can have just one session if you want, or you can have a few. It's up to you. You're totally in the driving seat. I don't tie you into a certain number or anything like that. At the moment, at the time of recording, I charge just $55 for that coaching session, which is hopefully less than, particularly if you're female, less than a hair appointment. And as we're not having hair appointments at the moment, it might be something that you would rather invest your money on to get you back on the straight and narrow, just to keep you coping at the moment. So email me or visit the website www.milestone-coaching.co.uk, where you can find out much, much more, and you can contact me through that. If you or a loved one feels that a coaching session could help you right now, you're feeling isolated and struggling, then I can be here to help if you want. If this is helpful to you, then please share it on your social media or your Facebook, or tell your friends, because they may well be struggling, and some of the back catalogue could be just what they need at the moment. So many tips and techniques and practical techniques that will help them right now, that will really help. So do share it. If you could spread the word, that would be marvellous. Let's crack on to this week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move. I really hope you find it useful. I just thought I'd share today a story of a client I've been coaching. Now, I've been coaching her on stress and confidence and self-belief. She was struggling in all of those really, and therefore a general level of unhappiness. So she wanted to sort her life out, and we've been working together for a few weeks. And I did a virtual coaching session with her. And I was, as we were scheduled to do, and because we're now in lockdown, which we weren't in our last session, I kind of came to the coaching session with a bit of preconception. I thought that she would be feeling more stressed and more anxious and struggling with everything. I thought everything we'd been working on would be heightened for her now. And in fact, I was really pleasantly surprised. When we started to work, she was really cheerful. And I said to her, how's everything going? How are all your stress levels, your confidence, your self-belief? And she shared with me that, in fact, they're all really, really on a high level, or they're all improving. And actually, she's doing really, really well. And so it was important for me and her to look at why. What is the difference that's making the difference, so that she can build on it, so she can learn from it? What's making the difference here? And then, therefore, when we come out of this and life gets back to normal, she can use those same strategies. And that's always key, as I've said before. It's key that we learn to coach ourselves. It's key that we dissect our own lives. When we have good days, why was it a good day? When we don't have such a good day, why not? What's the difference makes the difference, so that we can repeat the good and we can ditch the bad. So she was saying that her workload actually had increased. She's in a line of work that is very, but she can work from home, but because it's technology or computers or that sort of thing, her demand is much, much higher. So perversely, her workload has increased, and one might think, therefore, her stress would. But in fact, it hasn't. She feels much more in control, much calmer, much less stressed. And the difference was, she realised when we coached and worked together, that she was getting far less interruptions because she wasn't in the office. And that is a firm belief that I have, that we can often actually work far better at home because we don't get the round the water cooler conversations or people coming to our desk and interrupting. But more than that, she said, just generally, the feeling, everybody's got mixed emotions at the moment. Some are struggling, really struggling, and some are doing really well, and some have ups and downs. And she was saying that actually by working from home, she wasn't being affected by everybody else's emotions, good or bad, that she was much more self-sufficient in her own emotions, and she was drawing on her own. So that could be one benefit that you look for in working from home. She's at home with her boyfriend. They have separate work areas, so they stay away from each other. They respect each other's work commitments. But they were also making sure they had set times that they would get together and sit in the garden together and have a coffee break together. A proper conversation. Actually, the quality of their relationship was going up currently because they were having better conversations. She wasn't arriving home from work stressed, having been stuck in traffic, having been stressed at work. So she was waking up in a better frame of mind and maintaining that through the day. She was also finding, because we had worked on the fact that her stress levels would improve if she had regular exercise. This was before the lockdown, and she had just begun to see the benefits of going out for a walk at the weekends and therefore getting vitamin D, because she admitted she got very little. She was driving from work to her office, staying in the office, driving back home again routinely pre-lockdown. She is now making herself go out for a good walk every day with her boyfriend. Again, they're having good quality conversations. And discovering things about each other, and it's just a different level now. So she's getting exercise, which she wasn't before. So that's helping her stress levels, which I've always maintained on this podcast. Exercise is a great de-stressor, and that's the one thing we're allowed to do at the moment. So she's taking advantage of that and finding the benefits. She's also, therefore, because she's walking, getting much more fresh air and oxygen to the brain. So she's breathing better, which is de-stressing and very calming. and it's helping her sleep, as fresh air does. She's not in a centrally heated office all day and a heated car and then going home to a centrally heated house all day. What, in fact, she's doing, she says, she has lots of work calls, phone calls and teleconferences. So she's actually making herself go outside for those and sit out in the garden on a little step. Sit outside. So she's boosting her vitamin D all the time. She's out in nature all the time. She's throwing bread out for the birds. She's seeing the birds. She's watching nature. We've been so fortunate since lockdown here in the UK that pretty much down here where we are anyway, pretty much from the time we went into lockdown, the weather's been really good, so much better than it had been for months before. So she's going outside much, much more for vitamin D, fresh air, oxygen. So for all those reasons, her stress is decreasing despite her workload increasing. So she's feeling much, much better. And therefore, her confidence is increasing. She feels more in control of everything. She's feeling much more productive. She's actually admitting that her quality of work is going up because she can concentrate and she's not being interrupted and, spinning all the plates and one plate crashes because she's been interrupted at a crucial time. She makes an error, sends it to a customer and there's an error. She's not now. She's concentrated with undisturbed, focusing, doing high quality work. So her confidence and self-belief is therefore increasing because her relationship is much happier and they're not bickering and sniping at each other. She's feeling better about that and happier about that. And her sleep's better, so she also is able to concentrate and be more productive. So for all of those reasons, she's benefiting. Now that could be the same for you. It could be this may be speaking to you, or if it's not, did it ought to be speaking to you? How can you create that for yourself right now? How can you bring that mindset into every day now? In terms of lockdown, working from home, having that exercise, having that fresh air, changing how you view things, changing how you feel about things. But crucially with her, and we had previously, is part of her coaching, she had got herself a book, as I often suggest and do suggest on here that all of us do this. Get herself a good, nice notebook that's dedicated to this process and record things. She writes things down in her book or her journal or whatever you want to call it. She had, when things were bad, been recording things. And I said to her on this coaching session just yesterday or the day before, are you writing down what is the difference that's making the difference? She said, well, actually, no, I've stopped doing that now. But in fact, that's I had to correct her on that and point out that it's even more crucial that even though things are going well, and that's brilliant, it's even more important to record. Break it down into a kind of recipe. If it were a cake that you just cooked that would work really, really well, or a dish that you just created that had gone really well and was delicious, write it down. Write down the elements that were involved or the ingredients that were involved and the method, how you did it, how you approached it, how long you cooked it for, and so on and so on, so that you can recreate it again in the future. That's what a recipe is all about. Well, that's exactly the same with her journal now. And as I stressed to her, you need to write down everything that you're doing on a daily basis that is helping you to feel good, helping you to be productive and efficient and confident and relaxed and calm and upbeat, because you can draw from it again in the future. So you will not only, through your journal, have a record of what's not working for you from those first few weeks when things were bad when we first started working, you will also now have documented what does work for you. Because so often, don't we get on with things, we just do, and we take our eye off the ball. So perhaps when this is all behind us, we will get back to some kind of normality. We'll start going back to work, start seeing our team again, start getting into the same routines, getting stuck in traffic, being under pressure, the rigmarole of normal routine minutiae of everyday living. And before we know it, we may well be slipping back into old thought patterns, old habits, old mindsets, old behaviours, old routines. So if something's working for you right now, if you're feeling really good, and let's not look at that in big picture, let's not look at that over a period of weeks, let's look at that daily, because I think through this lockdown we need to go day by day. I think it was Sunday or Monday was a bad day for me. I think they were just talking about the fact that up until that point I've been doing really, really well. Apart from anxiety at night, I wasn't sleeping well for a while when it first all broke out. I learned quickly to stop listening to the news in the evenings. I would listen to the news just once a day, still do, and then turn it all off and then watch upbeat things, some great Netflix series we've got into. Just got into Catastrophe, which is very funny. I'm late to that game. And Breeders, they're all very funny, especially if you're a parent, you can laugh at it all. And I need humour and I need light relief. So I've started to do that, feeling better and sleeping better as a result, and was doing really well until I think it was Sunday or Monday. They started to talk about the fact that this, in fact, may not be over, certainly not in 3 weeks, as they first mentioned. And then they started to say it would be 11 or 12 weeks. On Monday, I think they started to talk about the fact that it may well be 6 months. And that just, I plummeted. I couldn't believe it. I went into a temporary feeling of real despair. Felt like crying, actually, and thought, 6 months? It's too long for everybody. Everybody, wasn't just from my point of view, it was everybody. My poor teenage boy is desperately missing his sport, his girlfriend, his mates. He's only 17. He's just passed his driving test. He wants some freedom. He wants to go out. He will turn 18 in this time. He wants to go out and go to pubs and clubs and bars and be the 18-year-old, as all 18-year-olds should be at the moment. My 15-year-old, dare I say it, is even missing school, loving the Xbox time, but I think is missing contact, seeing people, going out, some freedom. We all are. We've all got our own struggles and we're doing well. We're coping, but there are things we are missing. We're all missing things. We want to see our relatives, my niece and nephews, my sisters, my brother, the little ones. I want to see the little ones in the family and get family gatherings. I want to see my friends, properly see them, go running with them. All those nice things, which I can cope with at the moment because, of course, we're making that sacrifice. We need to, we must. It's important, and we've got to just shelve that and make ways around it and do Zoom and house party meetings and all of that. We can get around it, we can cope with it. But when the goalpost changed, temporarily I plummeted. I've got myself back from that. But we're having highs and lows, aren't we? Sometimes hourly, sometimes daily. So with your journal, write down, or your notebook, keep a record of when you're having good days. The next day, I had a particularly good day and I thought, well, I'm feeling really good today. Why? And that's the crucial thing. Why are we learning or feeling good? Why are we having a better day today than perhaps yesterday? I knew the yesterday one was caused by external news. The goalposts seemed to be shifting, felt out of control of that, etc. The next day I felt particularly good. And when I got to bed, I thought, why has today felt better? And I realised today felt better because I got back into a more normal routine. I got up at normal time. I had gone out for a run with the dog, which always makes me have a better start. I did a good stretching session afterwards, which always calms me down and makes me feel good. I then did a nice breakfast for all of us when we got back. Then I showered properly and put work clothes on and put makeup on because I was going to do a little bit of a video recording for the web site or for the Facebook page. So it felt like I was going to work, and then I did some Zoom meetings, so I had makeup on and things like that. And I was properly working in my office. The kids were doing their thing. My husband was upstairs in his work area working. I knew we were all safe. I knew we were all together. We stopped and had a proper lunch together. All went off into our own spaces and did more. It felt much more in control. It felt much more of a routine, despite the fact we were out of routine. It felt healthier, better, and we had a nice meal at the end together, all together. My son did some cooking. My 15-year-old did some cooking. He learnt with me. I taught him some cooking. He cooked his and his brother's food. And then we got into this, started watching this Netflix series, Catastrophe. I made contact with a few of my friends just to check in, make sure, are you all right? It felt a good day. So I realised from reviewing why was it a better day today, because I'd had social contact, because I'd had some comedy, because I'd had some routine, because I'd had some normality, because I'd made some effort, showered, put some makeup on, did my hair. All of those reasons, did a run, all of those combined made it a good day. So I realised for the next day, I need to repeat that. If that's working for me, I need to bring that in every day and see the difference that makes a difference. When it's a bad day, why? When it's a good day, why? And that's exactly what you could, and I would really strongly advise you do. Take note. And even break it down further than that. Break down half daily. Why was this morning good, but this afternoon I plummeted? Why? What was the difference that made the difference? Why did I start off well and then not so well? Or the other way round. Why did it feel really bad this morning when I got up and I felt really fed up and bored? I know my nephew sent me a message saying, today's been the worst day. Today's been the most boring. And, why? What was it today that you did differently or didn't do that made it worse compared to yesterday, or you would like for tomorrow, or you're going to bring in for tomorrow? So we're tweaking things, we're investigating and experimenting, just as all of these things, by the way, apply even if we're not in lockdown. So if you're listening to this in months and months' time, when this is all behind us, these strategies still work. Because life carries on. We've always got to find a normal, no matter what you're facing in life, because when this is all behind us, we'll still have challenges. We'll have economical challenges. We'll have relationship challenges. We'll have seasonal challenges and weather challenges and life challenges. We all will, because that's life. So keep a record, and I do strongly advise that journal is key throughout life. A mental note or a written note, or on your notes books, on your laptop or on your phone, wherever, just record. Was it good? If so, how and why? Was it not so good? If so, how and why? And what was the difference that made the difference? Keep a log now and forever, for always, and the important thing is then review that log. Flick through it every once in a while and notice a pattern. You'll see when you look back and reflect. There is a pattern. On the days that I get outside, I have a better day, or I sleep better that night. Record your sleep as well. Even go further and record what you've eaten, so that you can see if there's a pattern. I had a low day today. I don't know why. Not sure why. It may be what you've been eating. It may be that you find, as you look back, you've binged and been backwards and forwards to the naughty cupboard all day long, whereas yesterday you had a good day, but you ate better. You ate a good salad with whole grain rice or something like that, and a nice piece of fish. You didn't binge on the biscuits or the cakes as much, for example. So we're seeing trends, we're seeing patterns, but you can only do that if you keep a record. So stay safe, stay at home, stay well if we're in the lockdown. If we're not in the lockdown, I hope these strategies have been useful. Always share them, no matter what we're going through. Drop me a line, dawn@milestone-coaching.co.uk, and check out the website www.milestone-coaching.co.uk. There's loads on there. There's my blog. If we're out of lockdown, there'll be dates for free workshops if you're local to Hampshire. There's online programs, a stress program for sale at the moment, a 7-module over 7 weeks or more, 10 weeks possibly, stress module that you can do in your own homes. You can do now online while you're at home, and learn loads of stress management techniques. And it's yours to own now and forever. So even when you get back to normal and stress changes, you'll have all of those strategies. There's also a time management shorter module, and it's less cost, for sale on the website, which equally would be useful in lockdown or outside of lockdown. They're both appropriate at the moment. You can also use that website to contact me if you want to drop me a line, or maybe send a suggestion for a podcast subject. You can also connect to my Facebook page, where you can join my confidence group, or you can subscribe to the newsletter and or blog. So there's loads going on. Just have a little look through. And if not, take care of yourselves and stay well. And I will talk to you on next week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move. If you've enjoyed this, please share it, because it may well be useful to somebody, one of your friends, or maybe even a stranger right now. It may be exactly what they need, because they may be struggling by themselves and not much contact with the outside world if they're self-isolated. So please share it on your social media so others can benefit too. Take care, everybody.